So if you're looking to make more money using AI and want to know exactly which opportunities to go after in 2026, then this episode is for you. I reached out to the most popular AI guests that we've had on the show, the guests that you watched, you commented on, you got the most value from, and I asked them to come back and break down how you can capitalize on the AI gold rush. We then condensed the best moments into 2 videos. In this first episode, we focus on the money, the business side of AI. And so all of the guests that you are going to hear from are making money right now using AI, and they share exactly what they are doing. Arlen Hamilton has built numerous 6-figure products using Lovable. We then have Chris Roroke, who is currently building profitable iOS apps using simple text prompts and Claude Code. Finally, we end with Patrick Dang, who shares the one simple business model that is generating $3,000 to $5,000 a month micro agencies using AI at the heart of it. And so, you know what? I'm not going to say anything more. Let's just get into the conversation. You're listening to The Callum Johnson Show. We hear AI agents as like this kind of buzz term. Can you give people the overview of the power and like the significance of AI agents? And then you mentioned like Lovable, Replit. If people are getting into this for the first time, can you kind of give a bit of a breakdown of some of the tools that they should be aware of?
AI agents are, if you take something like a ChatGPT, which you feed it information or questions and prompts, and they can be a sentence long prompt or it can be pages long prompt, it's going to give you a response. And now more and more, because ChatGPT is catching up, you know, it's the forerunner, but it's also having to catch up in some ways. It is now doing more agentic things as an agent. But if you think about just that simple, I ask a question, I get a response, which is an LLM, large language model, ChatGPT. An agent, on the other hand, does something for you with that prompt. So you may ask ChatGPT, what are the best colors for this website? Or what's the best sales copy for this website, this landing page? And it will tell you. Whereas if you prompt something like Lovable or Replit, which are AI agents, and say, build me the best looking landing page for this type of business, and you type a few words in, give it 5 or 10 minutes, it'll build you 80% of the website. And it's heavy. Those 2 that I mentioned, Lovable and Replit, are kind of the front runners that most people know. Lovable being, if not the fastest growing SaaS product in history, it's very much so one of, I think it's calling itself the fastest, even faster than ChatGPT. And Replit being very much like it, just a different aesthetic. And you can talk to it, you can type into it, you can upload a picture of something or a file that has a lot of words or some presentation you did, you know, on a slide deck, and it will translate that into what it feels is a great website. And then you can play with that. You have I call it having paint on canvas. So you have the initial thing that you put up after 7 minutes, say, that it just kind of does it on its own because it's an agent, it's moving for you. And then you go back and you say, okay, I want to change these words to this. I want the background to be a different color. I want it to have, like, I'll say I want it to have an accordion aspect to it rather than a pull down menu. I want it to have some sort of animation rather than this. And you just keep pushing the boundaries of your imagination and what it can do today. I think that you can have ChatGPT when it comes to the tools, ChatGPT, and you can even have a free version of that and be good because you get a ton of stuff for free with ChatGPT. Plus Lovable. This is just my personal preference. I like the way it works. It's very user-friendly in my opinion. And it's beautiful. It has like beautiful outputs. And Lovable is that AI agent. ChatGPT is that LLM. You use ChatGPT. You can even say to ChatGPT, give me the ultimate prompt for XYZ for what you're trying to build that I can feed into Lovable, copy paste that would get me the results I'm looking for, and then copy that and put that into Lovable, and it gives it an even better shot at giving you what you want. But to be honest, I mean, they just announced, recently that they're just adding all these things to Lovable. Chat GPT and so many other, Shopify is now added to Lovable. I mean, you can just build with that.
Yeah. We're in such an exciting time, to your point. And I just want to make it so real for people, because you mentioned earlier that you've built over 200 projects in Lovable. Can you just share with people what are some of the most impactful projects, things that you've built that have either it's helped you make money or it's really helped you in your business? And then what has that impact been?
Yeah, I can give a few examples. One example is Prompt Shop in a Box. So I had a prompt shop that was like a vending machine, virtual vending machine for prompts. You know how I say you type in things into Chat GPT or Lovable, and the better the prompt, the better the outcome. That's just a fact. So I created a bunch of prompts that I've tested and stress tested, and I sold those prompts thousands of times. And after a few months, I said, well, how about I give people the key to this? Instead of it just being you buy a prompt at a time, you get all my prompts and you get all this stuff that gives you a business in a box, basically. So I created Prompt Shop in a Box. Well, it's pretty simple setup. I have it on Stan Store, which I love. I have it. That's how you buy it. And I wanted to feel like a really nice landing page and all of that. So I got a little extra and I created a landing page on Lovable that I send people to that landing page, and that landing page links out to the Stan Store. And I recently reached $100,000 in a 2-month period with that one $99 product. And I believe that a lot of it had to do, maybe 50+% of those sales had to do with the simple yet beautiful and elegant landing page. That's not this big website that's intricate and you have to decide what you want to do. It's just a nice landing page that is effective, that, maybe took me 2 hours to really get right. Whereas in the past, it would have taken weeks and hundreds, if not thousands, probably thousands of dollars to build. I was a little mad. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a little mad at how little it cost me to do, because I was like, this doesn't make sense. I looked it up and I was using credits on Lovable, because you pay a monthly and then you pay for extra credits. It's costing me approximately $30 per month to build and maintain this website. And I just made $50,000 per month doing that. For what it does is so impressive. So impressive. And I can't imagine what Lovable is going to be like 12 months from now. I can't even fathom it, which is fascinating to me.
What are the most exciting opportunities that you're seeing in 2026 that if someone's listening to this video and they're getting inspired, they're like, okay, I want to start using Lovable and Replit and these different programs. You're like, here's something that you're seeing right now, something that they can capitalize on.
What I'm seeing the most, what I think the future is I'm seeing somebody going from complete scratch. Maybe they worked at a corporation for a long time. They're in their 40s or 50s, and they want something different out of life, or it's being forced upon them, layoffs or firing, whatever. And they just feel like they're brand new for the first time again. And then there may be someone who is not like that, but they're just trying to get their footing when it comes to being an entrepreneur, and nothing really has taken off for them. So they don't know if they're good at this or not. And what I'm seeing is that this is like putting on an Iron Man outfit or costume or whatever. I don't know what you call it, but it's like putting on the Iron Man suit, and you now can exert the same energy and use your same brilliant mind that you've always had, but it packs a bigger punch. It takes you further. It takes you further, farther, right? It does all of that. And so what I think the biggest opportunity for 2026 is for, instead of people saying to me, wow, you've accomplished so much and you do so much, they look at me as like, oh, now I know how you do that. Like I can catch up to that. Like you're not superhuman. We are, when I talked about meritocracy before, based on merit, based on level playing field, going from zero scratch to being able to be in the arena for the first time, truly be in the game. That is what I see as, like, in my opinion, the next 12 to 24 months are going to be extraordinary. I mean, obviously, there's going to always be these people who are trillionaires and they're fighting each other to be, the richest people alive. And that's great, fun. Okay. But what I think is super cool are the thousands and thousands and tens of hundreds of thousands and millions of us who can have way more than anybody in our family ever had to provide for ourselves and our families, who can do more than we ever thought possible, but was always there, was always possible and a potential for us. It was just like dormant. Now that we have the supplies, we have the technology. And I think instead of, I got to make 10 million and 100 million and I have to do all of this, where a lot of people are chasing that, I think you're going to see a ton of people who are using 2 or 3 different platforms, call it School with a K, call it Stand Store, both of which I've won their contests recently, so I'm like bullish on them. And some, AI, like ChatGPT, Lovable, maybe one other AI platform, and you're going to build an entire mini empire, an entire ecosystem that's just run there.
Where I wanted to go is for the person that's listening at home. Like, this episode is their light bulb moment. Like, this is the moment where they're like thinking about the possibilities and what they can do. Almost like some weekend homework, this is the step one. Like, immediately after listening to this conversation, this is the program that you should open. This is what you should type into your browser. This is what you should play around with. And kind of just get to that first event of I don't know, maybe you made $1,000 in a couple of weeks or a weekend. And it kind of just gets you off to the races. It starts building momentum. What would you say as someone has listened to this conversation, they have a free Saturday morning. Go and do this. Okay, so give me 60 seconds of your time. We're in such an exciting period where anyone can build a business, and now you can build actual software using AI. And so recently I came across a tool that makes it incredibly easy to build your next product and do it all in one place. It's called Mocha. And the simplest way that I can explain it for you is that Mocha is the first AI app builder where one prompt can build you a full web app. You simply type your idea and it generates the website, the database, the backend, user login, literally everything that you need automatically. And so what used to take weeks and thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands of dollars, now happens in minutes. And what I love is that you don't have to set up a bunch of accounts or figure out complicated dashboards. You just tell it what you want and it does it. Every single piece. And so recently we used Mocha to build out an internal CRM that we use to manage our guest outreach. And so we started using the platform, and within a few minutes we had something set up and we're going to start using it in our operations. And so if you want to start building your next product, head to Mocha, go to the link in the description to get started with them. Thank you to Mocha for sponsoring this episode. Last week, I watched this video on how to build an AI agent. But after I finished it, I still had so many questions. And the one thing about me is that I know nothing about code. I'm not a software engineer. I'm not technical. And so it would drive me crazy because I'd want to build an AI agent like I'd see other entrepreneurs and people online doing. But when I started trying to do it, it would be way too technical. Then we had Matt Wolf on the show. I call him the AI reporter. He has over 880,000 subscribers on this channel. He delivers all the latest news about AI. And after recording, he told me about his free AI playbook that he built with HubSpot. And so I went and used it, and it answered a lot of the questions that I had. In particular, one of the sections that stood out to me was where Matt shares a 5-step framework for how to think about using AI in your business. It took away a lot of the confusion that I was feeling. And the best part is that it's completely free. So just hit the link in the description to grab Matt's AI playbook. Thank you to HubSpot for sponsoring this episode. Let's get back to the show.
I would tell them to go play. Play. What do I mean by that? Well, it was middle of the night. I moved. Success loves speed, right? Money loves speed. This is things that I've learned, not just by like reading books, which I do a lot of, and not just by observing people, which I do a lot of, but by being in it, going from nothing to something. If I sit around and I just try to make decisions for days on end, someone else has already beaten me to the punch. But if I see something and I'm curious about it and I act on it, even if I get it wrong or even if I don't win it, so to speak, momentum makes a difference. So I would say, go to ChatGPT, ask it, what are 10 things I can ask you that most people don't ask, or that I haven't asked you, or that I may be missing? Where's my blind spot? Like, push it to its limit. Go beyond, write this email for me. Go beyond that. Go internal. I would highly recommend Lovable. I just love them. I wish I were like an ambassador or something, because I really do. I just use it every single day for hours. And it is like a sandbox. It's a playground. So go on there and just the first thing you can do for free a little bit, but I don't think you can publish it, but you can play with it to see what it looks like. And go on, and if there's ever been an app or a website or an idea or a hobby or something even for fun for your friends or your family that you've ever wanted to build, but you're like, I'm not going to spend money to build that, type that into Lovable and just type in a couple of sentences. Create this or build this, and I wanted to do XYZ. And just press return and give it 5 minutes and see what it comes up with. Go play with it, and then get it wrong, break it a little bit. Because when you do that, even though this particular platform is really fast growing, to say the least, there are still hundreds of millions of people that have never heard of it and never used it. So you're going to be ahead of like 90% of the population of the world when you go and actually mess with it. And I just think that, just let your imagination go. So that's what I do. I always have this mindset of it's an experiment. I'm in the lab right now. And no one's yes or no can break me or make me. Go into it like that. And then the world is your oyster.
But if you just had to kind of imagine and think forward and forecast what some of those changes and that evolution could be, good and bad, what would you predict we're going to see in terms of AI's evolution in 2026?
Well, the reason I said it as a year is because, yes, every single day and every single week it is evolving. But a year, it will just be unrecognizable. So that's one prediction, is that it'll just be so different. And we'll kind of look back on these times as like, oh, those are cute. that was cute when I thought that I had to, press that button to get that thing to work or when it wasn't working. I think that I think for this is good and bad. This is an opportunity that presents itself, but it's bad for the people who sit out this round. Is that I think it's going to change so fast. AI will change so quickly and so drastically that it's going to mean that a lot of people are going to be left further behind than ever before. The good news is that if you jump in now, you're watching this right now, you're hearing this, and if you take away the limiting belief of this couldn't apply to me, I'm not techie, I'm not in startups, forget that. This is ubiquitous. This is everywhere. This is a part of life now, like the internet and electricity. If you jump in now and take one step forward of, let me just go over here and play, let me go and experiment, you will be able to keep up, because it won't be about knowing what every single AI tool is or what version is out the latest or any of that. It won't be about that, even though like in the moment we'll make these videos about that. It's going to be about your ability to just keep your finger on the pulse of things. Like I can't tell you, like you just said, I can't tell you what it's going to look like in a month because no one can. The founder of OpenAI, ChatGPT, cannot truthfully tell you what exactly it will be because it's just a monster. It's just out there. It's moving. But if you can keep pace with it because you understand fundamental things. Oh, okay, we just learned that ChatGPT is an LLM, large language model. Okay, that's one type of thing. And we just learned that the better the prompts, the better the outputs. Cool, like that's something. We just learned what AI agent is. And we learned that there are a couple of different ones that are front runners and how we can use them. You're so ahead right now because of this video, your full video, this entire thing that you're doing is like, watch this video on replay, use it as like, as if you're going to Stanford or MIT or Harvard. And this was, this is your first lesson of the year. Watch it, take notes. Now you are further along than most people you know. So I see that people are going to get smarter about caring and being aware about AI. And I think that we're going to see things that are going to surprise us in a good way.
The landscape with AI changing so quickly. And so obviously we filmed the episode that we filmed where you actually walk people through how to build their first app using Claude Code. Mm-hmm. In that time, what have you learnt? Like, have there been developments or like even updates with Claude Code, ChatGPT, like some of these different tools that we used in that video? Like, kind of just get people up to speed.
Claude Code has gotten so many different updates where it is remarkably more powerful. Even in the last week, it has gotten a model change that has made it significantly more powerful. I don't even know what the model was before, but it was probably Sonnet 3.5 or something. But now we've gotten to the point where you can use, at least at the time we're recording this right now, like Opus 4.5 just recently came out, and it's a third of the price of what it was a week ago. So just so many things are changing where the models are getting substantially more performance since we recorded, and more importantly, they've gotten cheaper and faster. So we're able to use models that when we were recording, we couldn't have used these because they were just too expensive, but now we can use them just very casually, which is very impressive. And so with all of these different changes, it kind of just means that the tool is, I think it's getting closer to like human level development, to be honest. I think that's kind of the benchmark I'm looking at. And since we recorded the episode, if I had to try to put a benchmark against it, I would say when we recorded it, Claude Code was probably a junior developer that really needed a lot of hand-holding, but it could basically do all the code for you. You really didn't have to look at the code at the time. We're now getting to the point where I kind of hesitant to say it, but we're getting to the point where you might not even really need to think too much about the architecture anymore, because before you had to architect something, tell Claude Code to do it. Now we're at the point where it's kind of smart enough where it can go research the architecture. It is very good at looking at tons of edge cases and thinking like an engineer now, where it can do a lot of that thinking and the implementation. And so now we're getting to the point where the developers can just focus more on being creative and focus on a lot of the other aspects. But even just the engineering part of coding is starting to be taken over, in my opinion, in a very good way, because this does unlock a lot more builders. It's going to produce a lot more stable applications. It's going to produce a lot more secure applications, to be honest, now that the models are more capable. But yeah, there's so many, the leaps in capabilities have just been enormous. I think that's the biggest change. It's just the quality of being what's outputted.
Just so this is like really clear for people, can you first just explain what does that mean, human level development? And then if AI is able to reach that level, which it's pretty close to by the sounds of it already, what does that mean for the person that's listening at home? Like, what effects, what things could we see as a result of AI being able to hit human level development?
Yeah, what I mean by that is it is able to write code, and it's able to build more like a human, because previously it really was just more like a machine where it was, let me just follow the instructions. But what that required is whoever's commanding it needs to be very good at writing requirements, needs to be very good at saying what it wants, and it needs to tell it, hey, remember these edge cases. They just basically need to really manage this thing well. It's starting to become more human in terms of it's just thinking a lot more. It's able to identify more edge cases. So now when you tell it, I want you to build this, it's not just going to go try to in one shot to go build it. It's actually going to try to reason and think, and it's going to think about, okay, well, what does the user mean by that? It's going to start questioning things just like a human does. And so I feel like that's where the models have gotten more interesting. They're just way better at trying to understand what we're trying to build, just like a good human engineer would. That's something that did not exist a few months ago, I think. I don't think it was that good at double checking, really trying to understand requirements, really searching for edge cases, trying to think about where things are breaking. And what that means for the listener is, I think it means that they should be able to trust these models a lot more.
Could you share with us, maybe you can show your screen, like some things, because I know you're building apps all the time and you're releasing them and you're getting users and you're making money and like all of this stuff. Can you just show high level, what are some of the things that you've been able to build recently with AI?
This is a really interesting one. This is my newest app, Amy, which is a calorie tracking app. But it's a calorie tracking app that's very different from other calorie tracking apps because it's in the style of Apple Notes. So you just type exactly the food you ate on the left. And then on the right, if you look closely, it's going to automatically use AI to search. It's going to try to find different sources and calculate the calories for you. So it's the most frictionless experience I could think of for calorie tracking. All of this was 100% written by AI. I did not look at a single line of code when I wrote this, down to its ability to set up the other AIs to go do the research, to picking the model. Like even I'm using this model called Perplexity Sonar to power the search results for this app. That is something that was a recommendation by Claude Code. When I told it this is what I'm trying to do, it literally told me, hey, why don't you use Perplexity Sonar because it has built-in search capabilities. Like I was so impressed when it gave me that recommendation. And so this was 100% vibe coded. I recently released this thing, I think 2 months ago. I hate talking about the revenue numbers, but an hour before we recorded this, I crossed $1,000 monthly recurring revenue with the app. And we've got a couple thousand people that have tried it and signed up. There's a couple hundred people that are using it every single day. And so I'm very surprised of the traction, but the important part though is that fully vibe coded, fully written by AI. I'm pretty I actually did not write a single line of code for the application, and I'm going to try as long as possible not to write a single line of code for the app because I just don't think it's necessary. And I have full confidence in its security. I have full confidence in The scalability, like maybe, but like for sure though, it's written in a way that it's probably better than if I had wrote it myself manually, for sure.
It's just crazy to hear. How long, if you just took the number of hours, just estimate that it took you to build this with Claude Code, what would you estimate?
Maybe like a total of, okay, to build the first version, like this prototype you're seeing here, the app is now way more fleshed out because I think I've been iterating on it for now 2 months. But the very first version of this, like what you are physically seeing here, was done in, this was done in like less than 24 hours, I'm pretty sure. I think in total, like amount of work, maybe like 8 hours of actual work was done here. But then with refinement and stuff, I think this version was about 24 hours. And I have a full YouTube video in case anyone wants to see if they don't believe that that's true. And then I think for the version that's on the App Store right now, I think it's been probably 200 to 300 hours total, but a lot of it is just refinements. A lot of it is just experimentation and tweaking. But the model got exactly what I wanted to do very quickly, like these base features.
For someone that's listening at home, that's watching this and like the possibilities are kind of going through their head of like things they could do, what would you do?
I would literally, to be honest, this is an insane time to be building applications. So I would probably still build apps. But what I would do if I was the listener is I would really try to identify what are some areas in my life that I can find pain points or I can find issues. Because you'll be surprised, everyone is different and everyone sees the world differently. And the pain points and the things you experience, you'll be very surprised how many people probably also experience this. And more importantly, you'll probably come up with a very unique solution. So this is a common thing that I'm hearing from people is, well, what if my app's already been done or there's no point in me doing it? I built a calorie tracking app when there's hundreds of calorie tracking apps being launched every single day. Like this is it's the stereotypical AI, like thing. Like it's, take a photo of your food and then use AI to scan it. There's hundreds of apps like this, but I had a very interesting solution to it where I was like, if I could just make it feel more like Apple Notes, that would fit better for me. I don't really want to do the photo thing. And it just so happened that 100 people right now are paying for it at the moment. It's been 2 months. So you'll be very surprised that people might actually resonate with your solution. So my advice is to try to look for things in your life that you can improve, hopefully through building an app, and then go build it. Because again, now the coding is the easy part. So you can go ahead and experiment and even just build an app for yourself. And then again, if you have the ability, I would publish it and then see if other people resonate with it. But you'll be very surprised what people are willing to pay for. So that's probably the first piece of advice. That's what I would do is I would build apps for myself to solve my own problems and then launch it. And that is what I've been doing, but that's what I'll probably continue to be doing. And then another one is also, I think something that I think is going to rise to is consulting. People are, I think if you don't want to do apps, but you are willing to do services, which I absolutely love services. I love service business. I own an agency as well. What I see a rise in is there's probably going to be a lot of solo one business consultants that have the ability to deliver what a team of 3 or 4 can do with AI. And so some good examples would be, let's say that you're willing to do SEO services or marketing and you want to freelance do this. Now with AI, you can start outputting and really competing with a team. You can start competing with like local agencies now just because you literally can use agents. You can use ChatGPT. You can use a lot of these things to supercharge your workflow. So I think we will see a rise of these one-man consultancies that provide insanely good service at a very, very good price point that will compete with local agencies. And it could be in so many different industries. But that's also another thing that would be interesting. And if I'm not allowed to build apps, I'll probably be doing services. I'll find something that I can then, even if I'm not allowed to code it myself, I'll go use AI tooling to be able to output way better than anyone else in that industry.
In the episode that we recorded, and even in the coding that you're doing, you're mainly using Claude Code. But there's so many of these like vibe coding software that could be used. Like Replit also comes to mind, Mocha, like there's so many different ones. I'm curious for you, for like the complete beginner, would you recommend that if they're interested in building apps, that they start with Claude Code, or would it be something different?
I've been on the look for better AI coding tools for beginners, because Claude Code is daunting. Like, that is a very daunting thing. Once you get the hang of it, so easy to use, but there is a learning curve. I've been trying out all the different coding tools. Now I believe there are some really good ones on the market. My favorite one right now is anything.com, which I think they just rebranded from createanything.com to anything.com. But they are one of the best at mobile applications. And the designs that are coming out of this app are also just incredible. So my recommendation is actually to use something like that. Use something like createanything.com. Try to build the mobile application. To be honest, there will likely be walls and barriers that you hit. But once you hit those barriers, you will know, and you can then graduate to another tool if it's necessary. But I think the important part, though, is when you struggle with something like Create Anything, you really start understanding how to prompt the AI, how to work with the AI, what kind of questions you need to be asking, what kind of edge cases to look out for. That's the skill that I think the beginners need to really try to hone. And then they can just throw away whatever they built, to be honest, and then start from scratch if they want to do that. But really starting with that is extremely important. And then I think, again, you'll know when you need to switch over to another tool, and then that's a different problem altogether.
I think about what you said about the fact that like we're getting to the point at the end of 2025, going into 2026, that these vibe coding tools are reaching human level development. Yeah. If you had to predict for 2026 what you think are some of the things that we could see be different, what comes to mind for you?
I think for sure there will be a rise of video AI. I think there's going to be an insane level of personalization that's probably going to happen, both in terms of, like, for example, let's say you're in the shopping app. I think one of the most futuristic things I saw years ago were, what if you can see yourself in that outfit? And I really think that we're going to start seeing applications adopt that kind of personalization, where you go to the Zara app and then eventually you'll be able to see yourself in an outfit and it looks very realistic. We kind of already see this with stuff like IKEA and some other apps adopting stuff like that. But we will see a rise in that because it's getting cheaper and more efficient to deliver experiences like that, so at scale. So I think we're going to see this. The other thing that I think we're going to see is probably more local AI stuff that's going to happen. And what I mean by that, it's on-device AI. Because right now, the thing people are looking at are the cloud-based models. These are like the Anthropic models, the OpenAI models, like the things you typically think of. But no one's really talking about things like the Gemma model or the Llama model. Some people do talk about it, but a lot of other people don't know about it. It's really mainly like very, very technical people who have heard of these models. I think we're going to see a rise in local models that are really more available for mass adoption being used in applications. And I'm very excited about that, because whenever things get cheaper, because in theory, these models are basically free as long as the device can run them, people just get really creative with putting it in applications. And again, something like, imagine if there's a local model powerful enough for Zara to be able to do that on device. Let me show you what the user looks like in this outfit. One of the constraints, the reason they can't do it is because it costs so much to do it. But if it's running locally on the device and it's free, they totally can deliver this now to billions of people, and it's completely fine. So I think we're going to see a rise in more focus on local AI. I also predict Apple is really going to focus on local AI. I think they've been prepping for this. There's a reason that they're putting this much RAM in a phone. Like, there is a reason, and I think it is to prepare for really way bigger models to be running on device. Like, there is no reason for the 17 Pro to like be as good as my computer was 5 years ago, except unless we want to run stuff like this. So we'll probably see this. And then I think because of that, we'll just see AI in a lot more of the application, and probably in an invisible way. So there's probably some stuff that you like for example, a great example would be more personalized reminders or just a more personalized experience. Like imagine if the app can look different depending on the time of day or depending on your usage patterns. That's something that was expensive for developers to do, but if we can get local AI to work and it's free, developers are more willing to experiment with stuff like this. And I think there's just going to be a lot more creativity once we can kind of get the local AI stuff sorted. So I'm very excited about that, to be honest. Aside from all the other stuff people are probably talking about, like that's the one I don't hear a lot of people talking about.
Yeah. Is there anything you're afraid of?
I think I am very afraid of the fraud implications. I mean, it is so crazy how good the capabilities are of the video models. The picture models were already starting to get there, but I do really worry about how good and how prolific scams are going to get with this. So this stuff is really powerful and it's just amazing. And I think it is a net positive for the world to have stuff like this, but I am really worried about when you put it in the hands of very bad, very creative people, what they can do with it to do harm. That is a little concerning.
We're in this kind of like AI-driven content world. Are there any other ways that you think that people are going to stand out in this space where like AI is generating so much content?
Yeah. So in my opinion, the key to standing out is really having taste. So you kind of have to be a creative director for your own personal brand, right? You have to know what you think is cool. What's a cool, catchy line? What's a cool, catchy intro? What's a cool thumbnail? You shouldn't rely on another person to tell you what is cool. You have to have that taste so that if you see, let's say 10 images, you can pick out the one that feels right for your audience, right? So if you use tools like Nano Banana to make thumbnails, like me and my team, we use AI to create thumbnails, right? But we have the idea of what we want first, and then we run it through AI to do things that we can't do, without it, right? But the idea has to be there. So I think for a lot of personal brands and creators out there, you got to work on your taste on just what you think is cool, and then have AI almost like a employee working for you, right? But even if you have 100 employees working for you, if the leadership's not good, it's not going to go anywhere.
As we go into 2026 and you talk about like having the right ingredients, the right skills to begin with, in your mind, what are going to be the most important skills for the person that makes a ton of money using AI or like builds a business or a profitable personal brand with AI? Like, what are the skills that come to mind?
Okay, so I think it depends on what you sell, right? So for people like me who sell coaching, consulting, and mostly to, selling to B2C, like business to consumer, I think just using AI to increase your output. So like, let's say if you do one video a week, right, on YouTube, how do you get it to 2 with AI? I think that's actually the real problem to solve, right? Maintain quality or increase it while increasing volume. So, the tools don't really matter as long as the job gets done, but you know what the end result you're looking for is, right? And I think so many people are so caught up in the mumbo jumbo of using AI, they don't even understand like what the end result they're looking for, right? It's kind of like, let's say somebody starts a AI automation business, right? And they're like, oh, I could do this, I could do that, I can automate whatever. At the end of the day, no business is going to buy it unless they know, okay, if I pay you $5K a month, like what am I actually getting, right? Like I don't want to look at your NAN, workflow. I just want to know, like, am I going to get more clients or not? And I think the people that really understand, at least from a business perspective, how can you help a business make more money, and save time? Those are the ones that are going to succeed because they realize that the automations actually are just a tool to get to what you want. Right. And I actually coach a lot of people who run these kind of agencies. And in the beginning, they always like spend, 10 minutes telling me about like how cool their automation is. And I'm just like, I don't think anyone's going to buy it. Let's just start over from the beginning.
It's kind of like a buzzword at the moment, like the AI automation agency. It's like the big opportunity. We always have this on the internet. There's like certain opportunity, which is like everyone thinks it's like the easy thing to make money with. For you, even if you weren't doing what you're doing now, like, let me just give you that hypothetical reality. is there a certain opportunity that you see or look at and you're like, oh, that lane is like wide open. Like that's actually something which is like someone could capitalize on that right now.
There's a lot, you know. Let's say in AI automation, right? So, like for example, I think sales is a really good place to automate a lot of stuff, right? So I got a friend who runs a pretty successful business, and what he's been able to do is he used to have DM setters, so he runs like Facebook ads, then goes to the DMs, then to a call and a close, right? So he completely replaced his setting team, the people that DM, with AI. Now he spent like hundreds of thousands of dollars on a lot of equipment and training to do this, but it's like 4x better than a human doing it. So if you can help businesses do those kinds of things, yeah, you're going to make them so much money, you know, as a service, right? So that's more B2B. But like if I lost everything today and I had no personal brand and I needed to make money tomorrow, I would probably just do a B2B service and like hit up these companies and, you know, help do what a human would do, but do it better with some kind of AI.
It's interesting what you mentioned because a lot of the things, like the opportunities with AI, if you really boil it down, what it is, like the money-making opportunity, is taking something that humans used to do and having AI do that and offer that solution to companies.
Yeah.
And so even when you look in the news, there's like, we're hearing about like tech layoffs. There's really, we kind of always hear like the apocalypse scenarios with AI. And then on the other hand, there's like another part of the internet where you hear about all of like the money making opportunities and saving time and enjoying your life more. I'm curious, like looking forward, where do you kind of fall in that side? Are you like an AI optimist, a pessimist? Is it a balance? Like, what's kind of your perspective?
All right, in this world right now, right, if you're complacent and you have a normal job, you just kind of do what they tell you to do, you follow the SOPs, right? Like you're going to get replaced. Like I'm pretty certain of that, right? There's no room for like the skill, like your skills have to keep going up. It's almost like skill inflation. If you don't keep up with the times and you don't keep improving what you're doing, like your value is going to go way down. So the company's only going to keep you because they can't fire you. But eventually you will get fired, right? And you won't be able to get a good job because you don't have any skills anymore, right? That are valuable. So yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get left behind. It's pretty unfortunate, but that's because of their own laziness, you know? It's just like if you don't like use the internet, then how do you expect to compete? Now, on the other end, the people that are more savvy, they check out the AI stuff, they try the new tools, like they're going to get ahead because what's going to happen is they're going to be able to multiply their output, right? So instead of being like a low level employee, if you have a brain and you can like think creatively and you're constantly getting better, you can have like 5 AI tools as your employees and now you're the creative director, right? So you can jump levels pretty fast. And I think a nobody can become a somebody fairly quickly, like 6 months, 1 year, like you can really make a name for yourself. So it presents a really good opportunity for those who are on the cutting edge and they're willing to put in the work. And it's a horrible job marketplace for people that are lazy. Horrible.
Do you think that we reach a point in time where the majority of people are like either freelancers or entrepreneurs?
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. Like that's the reason I started coaching people for Founder X, because you know, I used to be an employee and I realized that the trend is everyone's going to start working for themselves. They're going to have multiple clients and they're going to have a lot of options because they're skilled and because of the internet, they can work for anybody. So I think there is a place for employees. Like if you're, you know, a high level executive at Google, like you don't need to be a freelancer. I think they take care of you pretty well, right? But for other people, let's say you're working at a startup, you're making decent money, but you're like, hey, I can do the same marketing for them, but for 10 other companies at the same time and get paid way more. Like, why wouldn't you do that? So yeah, I think it's becoming easier to start businesses, in my opinion. There's always going to be competition, right? But the barrier to entry is like so low. And yeah, I think that is the future. Everyone's going to be, not everybody, but a lot of people now are going to be working for themselves.
I'm so big on the step one. Like, how do you just get started taking action? Because you build momentum, and then once you build momentum, things start to shift and change. And so if someone is listening at home and they're kind of having those thoughts of like, okay, they're hearing what you're saying and how things are going to change and evolve as a result of AI, what would be your advice? What is the step one?
I think the first step is really belief in yourself that you can actually do it. And how, if you're watching this and you need that light bulb moment, I'll give you an example. So I actually work with people, right, where they have a normal job and they just said, hey, you know what? I want to start an AI automation agency. I don't know much about AI, but I'm willing to put in a couple months to learn the fundamentals of how this works. And you would be surprised that these people can actually sign clients for like retainers, 3K a month, 5K a month, you know, and they have, let's say, no clients, no testimonials, still have a full-time job, and just learned this thing like 2 or 3 months ago. And when they service the client is happy. So like, you really can become whoever you want to be if you put in the time. That's really the first. It doesn't matter if you have a full-time job, if you're busy. Like, there are other people like literally just spending 2 hours a day on this and they can still sign clients. So understand that it is possible, right? There are a lot of people who are no smarter than you that are making it happen. Now, if you do want to make it happen, what you need to understand is a lot of it actually comes down to marketing and sales. So the question is, okay, like, let's say you develop a skill, you understand how to use AI. If nobody knows who you are, you can't sell this thing, which is why you need to build a personal brand so you have some kind of credibility. Even if you only get 5 likes a post, that's better than nothing, right? Like, who's going to respond to a cold email from like a ghost, right? Now, the other skill you need is sales, which is the ability to write messages and get people on the phone, right? Whether it's cold email, DM, you know, whatever your method is, a Loom video to like pitch them on the idea, right? And once you get them on the phone, you got to sell them and get them to agree to pay you money. Because once you get your first client, you'll understand that it's actually not that hard. It's just you haven't developed the skill set of acquiring clients. That, in my opinion, that's like the holy grail of skill, because you're making money. If you can make money, you can just pay yourself to do the work or pay another guy to do the work for you, right? And a lot of these agencies, that's what they do. They're really just middlemaning and project managing an automation process, but really they're the salesperson and project manager, right? It's actually another guy doing all the dev work. So yeah, like, if you learn how to do sales and you know how to make content, I don't think you'll ever go broke.
So if you enjoyed this conversation and you want to hear even more stories like this, then just click here. And also my team is going to put some more videos that you can watch here. Thank you.